kids here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So for this week, we are kicking off 2022 with some books that are going to have an epic plot twist. That you're going to be reading it and you think you know what's going on with it and you think you know where it's going, and all of a sudden there's a moment that you're going to be like, oh, what just happened? What a way to kick off 2022 with a book that is going to leave you breathless and wondering what's going to happen next. So we have 6 that we're going to take a look at, so let's get started. Our first one's called The Thickety, A Path Begins. So Kara is an outsider in her community known as Denorin. And Denorin is this isolated community that followers living with the goal of leaving the sinful world behind. Now, she is 12 years old. 7 years earlier, her mother was tried and convicted of witchcraft, which is a huge no-no in the community. And she was put to death, leaving Kara and her father and her younger brother behind, and they're completely ostracized from the community. Like, Kara's basically like taking care of both of them. When she decides that she's going to venture into this dark forest called the Thickety, and this forest surrounds their community and it slowly is closing into their community. When she decides to go into there, especially since it's forbidden because it's said to be the domain of this forest demon named Sodar, she discovers this book that she thinks once belonged to her mother. As she starts to read this book and journey even further into the Thickety, Kara decides to go on a journey in which she will need to decide what is right and what is wrong, and what secrets are held not only in the Thickety but also in the community as well. And what she discovers will change everything that she knew or thought she knew, and it will totally turn everything on its head. If you love your fantasy with some magic, some good versus evils, and there's a pretty awesome mystery, this one is a must read. This is the first in a series. We do have the others. So once you get started, you will want to read the others. This is the first one. This is The Thickety, A Path Begins. The Night Gardener. Okay, so Molly and Kip arrive in England from Ireland during the Great Potato Famine, and they're hoping to find jobs. And they do, at this house that's called Windsor House. But they soon realize that something isn't right in the house. First off, no one comes to the house. Like, the house is basically like secluded on its own, almost like on this little island entity. No one comes to the house. They leave it to its own demises. And outside the house, there was this huge leafless tree that everyone talks about in whispers. And the family members each seem to be struggling with their own problems, but no one really knows what those problems are, but no one really talks about it. And then one night, Kip sees a man come into the house. Everyone's asleep. Kip sees this man come into the house. He wakes up Molly, and they decide they're going to follow him. And this is when they see this man go into each bedroom, and he starts collecting the sweats and tears from each member of the house while they are sleeping and they are dreaming. And then they follow him outside after he's collected all the sweat and the tears from these people. And then they see him start to water this huge leafless tree that's in front of the house outside. Molly and Kip decide they need to figure out what is actually going on, and they need to defeat this mysterious man. But this creepy book will leave you on the edge of your seat as you read through this fantasy tale. You'll be trying to figure out what is actually going along with Molly and Kip. And when you figure out, or you think you have figured it out, you'll be stunned. I can't recommend this one enough. This is The Night Gardener. The Shadow Cipher. Okay, so this is set in an alternative form of New York City, but during modern day. And it is here that we meet twins Tess and Theo with their friend Jamie. And they are determined to solve a mystery that is over 150 years old. Now, the 3 friends, they live in this famous apartment building built by these 2 architectural genius twins named the Morningstar twins. And this was built back in the mid-1800s. Now, these twins were famous for building buildings that contained clues. So each of their structures, they have structures all over New York City. Their structures all have these clues built into them. And if you could figure out what these clues were and what they were leading you to, it would lead you to this fantastic treasure that they made that has to be worth a lot of money. No one knows what the treasure is, but everyone's just assuming it must be worth some awesome dough. Now, as the three of them start to look for the clues in their apartment building, because what they're hoping is to figure out these clues, they want to solve the treasure, they want to find the treasure, because they want to save their apartment building from this real estate tycoon who wants to buy it and raise it down to the ground. The three of them find themselves going down a trail of secrets and stories that some people do not want them to find out. And before they know it, they find themselves that they could be in danger and their lives could be at risk. The first in a trilogy, if you love a good clue-solving mystery or while trying to figure out the puzzles along with the main characters, this is a must-read. Again, we are looking at epic plot twists. There will be one coming that you will not see, but you'll be trying to guess it every step of the way. This is the Shadow Cipher. Ice Wolves. Okay, so Anders and his sister Raina are twins, but they are completely different. They have completely different personalities, completely different looks, but they are orphans, and they are trying to survive by being pickpockets. And while Raina is quick and smart, Anders seems not to be the best choice, as a pickpocket for his survival. So when they are caught one evening and they are put on trial, this trial reveals something altogether. They are actually shapeshifters. Anders can become an ice wolf, and Raina a scorch dragon. And ice wolves and scorch dragons traditionally are enemies, which makes it even more confusing that they're twins. They then enter what's called the Ulfar Academy, where they can hone their skills, and they are kept away from each other because, again, they're enemies. But they soon discover that they are going to need each other in order to survive, especially with some of the weird things that are going on at their new school, and they're not entirely sure what exactly is taking place or who they can trust or who they cannot trust. And when Raina is kidnapped, it's going to be up to Anders to find her, but that may mean uncovering secrets that people want kept and they don't want anyone to ever find out. The first in this fantasy series, if you enjoy mystery, family, friendship, shape-shifting, this is one for you. This is Ice Wolves. The Boundless. Okay, so all Will wants is adventure, but that's not going to happen, as he's expected to follow in the footsteps of his railroad executive father. Due to his father's job, though, Will finds himself on the maiden voyage, the first voyage of the world's most luxurious and largest train ever built, called the Boundless. Now, the Boundless is making its way all across the country of Canada with over 1,000 railroad cars all attached. And soon, Will finds himself running for his life on this train as he witnesses something that he should never have seen, as well as ending up holding a piece of evidence that can totally bring to light what he witnessed and what he wasn't supposed to see. And the people that are involved in what he saw, they want this piece of evidence and are going to do whatever it takes to get it back from him. Everyone he meets on board has their own agenda. He has no idea who he can trust, who he can't trust. He just knows he needs to get to his father, who's on the furthest end of the train, the 1,000 car rides away. And it's going to be up to him if he's going to survive this voyage. If you like your adventure with some nonstop action, mystery, there's even some Sasquatch Bigfoot appearances, then this has it all. This is the Boundless. And our last one for today is the City of Ember. So when the City of Ember was first planned, it was this underground city that provided survival away from the dangers taking place above ground. 200 years later, though, supplies are starting to run low, and the city is starting to fall apart. It wasn't intended to be used for as long as it has been. It's starting to reach the end of its lifeline. So when Lena, who lives in the city, when she's out discovering messages one day, she finds this document, and it hints at a way out. No one's been able to find their way out of Ember. But this document seems to let her know how to get out of this city, and soon she and her best friend Doom start to piece things together. And as they do this, as they start trying to figure out a way out of the city and what exactly is going on, they find themselves being hunted by the police, as this is a secret that someone very powerful does not want to get out for some reason. And that's what they want to figure out. This is filled with adventure, there's suspense. You will cheer for Lena and Dune as they try to get the truth out. This is the first book in a series. It also comes in graphic novel form as well, but it will leave you guessing, it'll leave you breathless. You'll be turning the pages as fast as you can to get to the end because you will want to know what happens with Lena and Dune and what is the deal with this city that people don't want others to get out or learn about. This is the city of Ember. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at the library that have some epic plot twists. There'll be things that you won't see coming or you think you'll see coming, but guess what? It will be something completely different. You'll be sitting there stunned as you're reading these books, wanting to know more. So I encourage you to come on out, check out one of these, or if you're not into an epic plot twist, we have plenty of other choices and we will help you find that perfect book. I hope you tune back next week. We have a whole new middle grade book spotlight, and I hope you have a great week.